Good morning, guys. Welcome to my Thoughts from Places. So we went to Peggy's Cove for the first day of my Thoughts from Places because it was an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous day. And I went with this person who you still don't know who it is. Haha, I have that on you. But it was absolutely packed. And that's probably because it looks like this, even if that looks like a little bit like night and that But we sat there and watched the waves for a little while, and that was pretty fun. And then this guy played something called McPherson's Lament, which you can find in the description. The next morning started off with coffee, as always. I had a little bit of surface tension going on. And then I got in my car, and it was raining, so I wiped the window. And then I went to Blue Note and bought like 6 different shirts, which was awesome. The next day, I started my trip to Moncton to the Hopewell Rocks because I just felt like driving. And I drove and I drove and I drove and I drove to the drive-thru, of course. And then I continued on. Now, just some awesome scenery of Nova Scotia and stuff. And then I happened upon this really awesome field of windmills. Not windmills, but kind of like power generating things, which is probably, honestly, I've never really seen them in real life. Like I've seen them in TV shows and whatever. But to happen across this field of them, this giant, enormous field of them, when I wasn't expecting it, was absolutely breathtaking, and it absolutely blew me away. And then I entered into New Brunswick. And then that's what I went for, the Flower Pot Rocks. It was actually kind of nice, even though it was overcast. I thought it was going to clear up, but it still was overcast in the end. But that's okay, because I still got to see the woods and the Flower Pot Rocks. Now this is them at high tide. So if you can imagine, because I didn't get to see it, if you can imagine, that is the Flower Pot Rocks there. And then, it wasn't going to set for another 5 hours to low tide. So, if you can imagine, the bottom of those flower pots are way out. You can walk for another, probably a good 10 feet. But I decided to check out what else was around the park, and I found this nice little thing, and then there was a bird. Because there was nature in the park, which is weird, because it's a park. Why would there be nature in it? It's only a natural park. There's a lot of these, because you're kind of walking down towards the ocean, the hills, and it doesn't really look that steep, but trust me, your knees would buckle when you walk down them. This was called Big Cove, I think, and it was actually kind of pretty. And then there was more wildlife there. But I think it would be prettier if it wasn't overcast. I think you can agree with that. So I got in my car, and then it started to rain. So I decided to check out the local gallery. And then it really started to rain. So I decided to just drive around, see what's up. And since it was raining and I needed to eat, I went to the Log Cabin restaurant in this place, somewhere in New Brunswick, and got the closest thing to Clubhouse. Then I decided, you know what, maybe it's going to be better tomorrow, not checking the weather. And I rented a motel room, which actually, when I think about it, was kind of seedy, but that's okay, because I survived. It was cheap, so figured why not. I figured maybe I can get a nice sunset or sunrise, and that didn't happen. But there was a visit from an aminal. I started off the next day very, very early. And I started off with coffee, of course. Motel room coffee, mind you. So not anything like creme de la creme of Tim Hortons. It was just not really good. They didn't even have any proper creamer, so it kind of looked like that. I went out to check out the continental breakfast, which just happened to be just Cheerios. And since it wasn't going to get better all week, I decided, yeah, I might as well leave. So by 9 o'clock, I was at my favorite place in Moncton. Can you guess? Oh, Tim Hortons. And on the drive back, it was kind of foggy. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. But at least the flags were blowing on the way back. Most of them anyway. Dum dum dum. Now, I just wanted to take another minute to appreciate the beauty of these ginormous, majestic machines. I know it probably sounds weird to you, and it probably doesn't translate as well on camera, but I wasn't expecting these when I drove past them the first time. I mean, the second time I obviously knew they were there, but I was not expecting them to be there, and they were there, and they were super majestic and super, super cool. And it just absolutely breathtaking and blew me away. So just take a moment to appreciate them. Then I decided to be a tourist and check out the Blueberry in Oxford, because it's the capital blueberry capital of Nova Scotia, and some nice mountainous scenery of Nova Scotia. Isn't that great? Love living here. It's a bit of a drive though, 697 kilometers, so it's a little bit. So I was home for maybe 40 minutes, and then I left again because I love driving in this really awesome weather. Can't you tell? It was just absolutely pouring, and it was pouring so bad sometimes you couldn't see the road, and that was sketchy. But I drove down to the valley to go pick up the lead singer / main vocalist of a band that we have called Purple Means Go. That's her right there. We made new music, and she lives by cows. That's how in the middle of nowhere in the valley she lives. Just cows right there, just like right there. So later that night, we decided to be very, very brave and make our actually healthy own food. And you know what? She's got it all under control. But we made a lot of stir fry. And I think I really needed it because I had eaten crappy the whole week, and I wasn't feeling that great. And then I ate a giant amount of stir fry, and everything was amazing. Everything was incredible, and it was good. And then yesterday I went out and I bought this laptop so I can edit you guys on the road and don't have to do thoughts from places anymore. Although I probably still will. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.